Hey guys, welcome to Homework Helper for Lesson 11. This is the beginning of multiplying decimals. And what we talked about today basically making copies of the multiplication is the same as, making copies, okay? And how that's going to work and how that's going to look, we're going to examine in several different ways into several different problems, okay? And ultimately we want to get to an area method. And so that's where we're going. So I'm going to start off with just something simple, 3 times 2/10. And if we go ahead and put that into our place value chart, I can make 2/10. And if I'm doing 3 times that, I'm making 3 copies of that. Let's make 3 copies of that. There's 1, 2, 3. Now I have 3 copies of 3/10. And what I can do is I can add those up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ultimately, I have 6/10. Let's move these. Or 6/10. Okay? Things get different and things change when, or things get slightly more complex, or we have more to think about. If we're doing a problem like, let's say, 4 times 3/10. Okay? I know I can easily make, I can do this. I can make 1 copy of 3/10. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. There's my 1 copy. And if I make 4 of those, well, I know how to do that. 1. That's 2 copies. That's 3 copies. That's 4 copies of 3/10 that I just made. Awesome. And so that would look good, and I can add all of these up. And if I do, I get 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if I have 12/10, well, I know that that looks like, if I have 12/10, and I write that as a number, I know that looks like 1 and 2/10, 12/10. So what I should do is I should regroup these. I should take these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I should take these 10 right here, and that's 10 of them. So I'm going to take those guys and I'm going to move them over to here as 1. And so now I have 1 in there. And how many do I have left over here? I have 2 little guys. And so there I get my 1 and 2/10. Okay? So when you get more than 10 going on here, we have to regroup and you have to move them over. And that makes sense. We learned that in adding. So what I can do then is, let's get this back out here. If I have something, and let's say I can do this down even into my hundredths or my thousandths. So let's say I have, let's do 4 copies of, or 4 times, let's do this one here, 4 copies of, let's do 423 thousandths. Okay, so 4 copies of 423 thousandths, and I have 4 in my tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have 2 in my hundredths and 3 in my thousandths. 1, 2, 3. So that would be 423 thousandths, right? And you can see how that matches up. And I need 4 copies of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 copies of my tenths, 4 copies of my hundredths, and 4 copies of the thousandths. So you can see how I have 423 thousandths, and I have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 going down. And so then what I need to do is the same thing that I did up here. I need to analyze it, see what I have as my totals, and then regroup if necessary. So let's count these up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 4 times 3. I have 12 here. So I do have more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my group of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right here. I'm going to take my group of 10. Now I'm going to ship it on over to this one here. So I need to give myself an extra dot there, which I did. It's a little bit smudged, I apologize. And so now I have that extra one here. My group of 10 thousandths became 100th, and we know that's true. If I have 10 thousandths, I have 10 thousandths. I know it's also 1 in my hundredths place, and so that's what I did. I moved that 1 to my hundredths place. And so now I can count up the total here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 there. I'm left with my 2 here. And here, well, looks like I have more than 10. So let's get a group of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's my group right there, my group of 10, which I'm going to take and move over to here. And once again, I'm going to take one of my discs and put my disc there. And that, so now I can count up how many I have left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I have 1 here. So my ultimate answer is 4 times 423 thousandths equals, and I'll write the product down here, 1 and 692 thousandths. Okay, and I can see how I got 1 and 692 thousandths by regrouping these, moving them up, and ultimately getting my totals. So now, what we want you to be able to do is we want you to be able to visualize this and put this into an illustration, some model that's concrete that you can look at. So what we could do first is let's take a look at something simple. Let's do 2 times, let's do 43 hundredths, okay? And so first what I'll do is I'll put that over here. I have 4, and I have 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I have 2 copies of that. 2 copies of that. And what I want to be able to do is, well, we can count these up if I needs to, I suppose. 6, if I needs to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 8. And there's my decimal, and I have 0 there. So what I want to show is, I want to show this in a different way. I want to show this in a visual way. So I can do an area model like this, okay? I have 2, and what I have is I have 4 in my tenths, plus I have 3 in my hundredths, and so that would give me a total of 2 times 4 tenths would be 8 tenths, and 2 groups of 3 in my hundredths, or 2 groups of 3 in my hundredths, is 6 hundredths. I barely got it in there. So I have 8 tenths. I'm going to write that down here in standard form. 8 tenths. 8 tenths plus 6 hundredths. And if I needed to, I could line those up. I could do this the old-fashioned way and line them up. I could fill them into 6 and 8. There's mine. It's important we line them up when we are adding, and so I would get my answer of 86 hundredths. And so you can see how we did that in 2 different ways. Okay, I can show this in 2 ways. I can show this using my place value chart over here. I can also show it using my my area model over here. Okay, and then we would do the same thing if we had to do some regrouping. We would do some regrouping. So let's show that then as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of all of this. Okay, do I have to? I wonder if I can just squeeze it in here on the bottom. I'd like to keep it up here if I can. Ooh. Let's just partition this off, section this off. So that's for that problem there. I kind of already had that, but I'm going to make it a little neater so I can fit another one in here, okay? So so let's try a bigger one. Let's try something that could be slightly challenging, that we have to do some regrouping. Let's do 4, bring that back. Let's do 4 times 423 thousandths, okay? So like I said before, let's just do it over here real quick. I have those 423 thousandths. All right, did I already do that? 423 thousandths, I did. So this is what I have up here. So let's do this in a different color then. And I hope you can see it. My apologies to students who might have any kind of a color deficiency. I do have a color deficiency as well. So let's do this guy. Wow, I didn't mean to do it that big. I apologize. So let's do this guy, and we're going to take it and we're going to move it down here and put it into an area model. So I have 4 times 423 thousandths, and you can see that I have, you know, I have 423 thousandths, and I multiplied that out and I regrouped, if you remember that, and I got all this jazz over here. So in order to put that into an area model, I'm going to need space for my tenths, my hundredths, and my thousandths, okay? And so I have 4 groups of 4 tenths plus I have 2 hundredths, and I have 3 in my thousandths. Okay, and so if I do 4 groups of 4 tenths, that gives me 16 tenths. And if I look all the way over here, you see how I had 16 tenths to recall? 16 tenths, and I had to regroup that one up there. If I have 4 groups of 2 hundredths, I'm going to get 8 hundredths. Okay, that's hundredths, it is, I promise. And then 4 times 3, remember I got 12, I had 2 and I carried that one up there, so I have 12 in my thousandths. Okay, so let's write this down in standard form because we know how to do this. I have 1 and 6 tenths, or 16 tenths. 8 hundredths, I have 8 hundredths, tenths, hundredths. 0, by the way, and 12 thousandths, 0 my tenths, and 12 thousandths. Okay, and then what I would need to do is, now we need to put those together, kind of like I did up here where I had to regroup and I had to throw that one up here. What I would do is you can just add and stack them up, line those decimal places up, 0, 8, line those decimal places up, 1, 2, zing. I'll put some zeros in to hold those places for me, and I'm going to come all the way down and give myself a 2 here. 8 and 1 is 9, and 6 comes all the way down. My 1 comes all the way down. Of course, my decimal comes all the way down because I lined them up. So I have 1 and 692 thousandths. And that's exactly what I showed up here as well. And I see how I got my 9 because I sent that one up. So all of this kind of starts to come together and make a little bit of sense and shows you, I don't know, the more ways you can have this make sense to you, the more ways you can explain it, the more proficient you're going to get at multiplication and multiplying decimals. So this is whole number multiplied by a decimal, and good luck. Do your homework, and if you have questions, bring them to class, of course, as always, and do your best. You guys are amazing students. If you push yourselves and you try, and you're an active learner and trying to make yourself as smart as possible, the sky's the limit for you. So keep up the really good work. You guys are great. All right, have a fantastic night. Let me try and turn this thing off if I can. No, I'm still drawing. Okay, bye-bye.